Hey everyone, and welcome to the video. My name is Lenora Edwards, and I am a board-certified speech-language pathologist with Better Speech. Today, I'd like to take some time to talk to you about expressive language. What is expressive language, the importance of it, the building blocks toward expressive language, and how to determine if your child may or may not be having difficulty with expressive language skills. So, without further ado, let's get started. Hey there! Before we get into today's video content, I want to go ahead and remind you to subscribe to our channel, Better Speech. And after you watch the video, if you found it helpful, go ahead and click that like button, comment down below, and don't forget to share with your family and friends. Also, visit us at betterspeech.com for more information. Now, over to the video. So first things first, what is expressive language? Expressive language is everything that I'm doing right now. I'm using words and sentences. I'm also using gestures to communicate my thoughts to you. Writing is also a form of expressive language. Now, as I'm talking, I'm describing things. I'm telling you about the actions of other things. As we're talking, we're putting together sentences in a grammatically correct format so that they make sense to us. And that is our ability, as they make sense to us, that is our ability to actually understand language. That is the receptive part of language. Our ability to hear and understand the language is a building block to how important it is to be able to effectively express our language. Now, what's really important to understand about expressive language is that before we can express language, we actually have to be able to understand language. That's the receptive component. So when your babies are young, before their verbal skills actually develop, it's really important to talk with them. As you're talking with them, what you're doing is you're offering them so much information, especially when you're face to face. Not only are they watching your mouth move, not only are they watching your eyes, you're also communicating with your face. You're communicating our facial gestures. And then when you start to involve your hands, you're communicating more with your body. This is how we also communicate. And it's really important that they understand that this is also a form of communication. 70% of our communication is nonverbal, which means that this is actually how we're communicating, but also with our tone, our flexion, our vocal intonation, that is also a form of communication. So as we're talking, what's really important when those babies are young, and that when you're talking to them when they're that young, is that you're showing them that there are turn-taking skills. You're showing them that there are different ways to talk to people depending on the social context. So even though they're not able to actually express this component, what they are doing is they're actually understanding this at a very deep core level. So it's really important to talk to your children, talk to them early, and talk to them very, very often, especially face to face. So, very early on, as you're talking to your baby and socially engaging with them, they're understanding that there is a social way to communicate. Now, for them, this starts to formulate an expressive communication as cooing, as babbling, as vocal play. We can also know that they're expressing their wants and their needs by the difference of their cry. That is also an expressive communication. Now, as you're talking to them, as you're engaging with them, as I mentioned, they're watching your mouth. They're truly engaged. That's their ability to understand and focus on what you're doing. And as they start to understand that they have that ability too, they'll start to make sounds. Puff, puff, puff. That is also expressive communication. So now you're starting to see them express themselves and start to use that language and have play with it. So now, as your little one is starting to develop, what you're going to start to hear is that vocal play from those vowels. Then you're going to start to see them produce some consonants, which p, b, m, p, b, and m are typically the ones that we see first off because these sounds are actually made right on the front of their mouth. And they're watching you, but they're also able to model you. So, as your child's language is beginning to grow, what you're going to want to look for very specifically are, can they name items? Can they label pictures? Let's say you're reading a storybook about a farm and it's one that's quite familiar to them. Are they able to name the characters? Are they able to name the animals in that storybook? Another great one is when they're at the table and they would like something more to eat. Will they go from more to more, please? As you're modeling this, they will instinctively pick up on this. And this is how you're going to check, making sure if they say more, you say more, please, and they model you. When they repeat you, that's a model. Another great thing to look out for is, are they asking questions? Where's mommy? Where's daddy? Where's doggy? That's how they're going to start expressing themselves. They're going to start asking more questions and they're going to start combining the language that you've so been giving them over time. What you're also going to want to look for is, can they be understood by others? Especially when you start to get to the age of 3 and 4 years old, most children can be understood by unfamiliar listeners. So that is something very, very important. If you find that you're translating a lot for your child, you absolutely want to reach out to a speech language pathologist. Another thing to look for is, how is that peer to peer interaction and how is that child and adult interaction? Are they able to appropriately shift from one and engage in another? Something else to look out for is, how are their storytelling skills? If you read them a story, are they able to give you an appropriate beginning, middle, and an end to that story? If you ask them about their weekend, are they able to recall the events of their weekend? Now, this is really important because language is a foundational way that we communicate in our world. So we really want to be able to know and point out if these skills are there, and if not, reach out to a speech language pathologist so that we can better help you and your family on where to go next. Now, to encourage really strong expressive language skills within the home, here are some great tips. When you're talking with your child, do as much as you can to talk with them face to face. Make sure that they can see your face because they're actually understanding a great deal of information when you're communicating with them face to face. Another great thing to do is, as you're reading, as you're playing, make things as fun as possible because learning happens when it's fun. So when you're reading, go together through the book and name different pictures. Allow them the opportunity to name for them. Do your best not to say, "What is this?" in a stern voice. You don't want to come across as if you're testing them, but you do want to come across as, "Is this a fish?" And you're pointing to a dog. See if they can do their best to correct you and offer you the correct information. Kids love to have power and love to be the teacher also. So anytime you can offer them that opportunity, that's a great thing. Another thing to do is, when you're getting dressed, let's say you're going outside, you can always put your gloves on your head and you can ask them, "Is this where it goes?" And they will have the opportunity to effectively express to you, "Nope, that's not where it goes." And it'll be fun and silly for them. So, those are some great tips on how to make sure that you encourage opportunities and you support their expressive language growth within the home. Now, if you have any questions, if you'd like us to talk more with you, please feel free to reach out to us at Better Speech. We offer a free 15-minute consultation where we will do our very best to offer you guidance and information from there. Simply visit us at betterspeech.com for more information. Thank you so much for spending time with me today on this video. Have a great rest of your day.